What is going on, guys? This is Student Investor. In today's video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about my Apple call option that I've bought a couple videos back. You may remember that I purchased 3 Apple call options, Leap options on Apple for 5.6 grand. Today, I'm making an update video to show you exactly how much I've made from those exact Apple call options. On the screen in front of me, you'll be quite surprised to find out that I have made quite a pleasant gain from Apple. In front of me, I've made a 91% return on my money for investing in Apple, and I have now joined the 5-figure club from that investment. So 5.6k has turned into today's market value, as you see on the screen here, 10.6k. So I nearly doubled my money, or had a gain of around $5,000, as you can see on the screen. So for people wondering, like, how did you profit so much? Well, one, options are a leveraged asset. So if you aren't too familiar with options, or you're not really advanced, I don't really recommend options, because you really need to know what you're doing and decide and do your research before purchasing any sort of Leap option. But it's a great way to leverage your money, and it's a really great way to put a lot less money into an asset and gain a lot more money if you know what you're doing. So to add on to that, if you would like to go back and watch my video where I talk about why I purchased the Apple Leap options and go through my investing thought process and my philosophies behind making that decision, go back into my channel and watch the other video. I think you'll learn a lot from that. But for that reason, I just want to touch base with you guys for a little. So I want to tell you guys that there is a lot of new money in the market, and there's a lot of new people in the market. So I'm noticing this trend where it's like the market has been rising substantially, and obviously I've benefited from that, from making the decision on Apple before an Apple release and before a product has been unveiled. In fact, Apple has announced that they're going to be announcing the new iPhone, or unveiling the new iPhone 13 on September 14th, and it's going to be live streamed, and I'm going to be also talking about the news on that. But for that reason is what I want to warn you guys about. So there has been a lot of recommended YouTube channels or recommended videos about people making risky plays on some very sketchy stock picks out there that I don't necessarily agree on. But this channel is all about making good long-term plays and effective plays with your money that you could do over the long term, so you won't have to worry and have the stress about all that short-term anxiety about what a stock will do in like a month or two, because that's the time frame you picked. I'm all about the long run. I am a long-term investor, and there's a reason why this option is a Leap option, and it's not one that has an expiry of 1 or 2 months. Well, one, I want the time advantage because I believe Apple has a lot of growth ahead, and they haven't even tapped into the amount of revenue that they could be making. I'll speak about that in this video, and you'll get another glimpse on how I think about Apple in the long term. But for that reason, that's why I purchased the Leap option, because Leap options allow me to have enough time so that way whatever the market does, it will average out over the span of 2 years that I have on this Leap option. So Apple has been trending great today, but in the long term, I could imagine Apple not staying at its $156 mark, and it might be worth over maybe $200, $250, I'm guessing. That's around the estimate that I had, and if it does reach that point, this option will be worth a lot more, because options, like I said, are a leverage asset. So for every $1 that Apple goes up, I effectively earn $300, because I have 3 contracts, and each contract contains almost 100 shares of Apple. So it's like as if I control 300 shares of Apple without actually having to purchase that lump sum amount up front, which is just great. So in front of me, this is a Yahoo article where I'm just going to basically go over what they said about the event. So in this article, you could see that they have announced that September 14th would be the unveiling event for the new suite of iPhones. So that is for sure coming. So we know that for a fact. And also in this article, they throw a little hint at us, or teasing us, basically saying that There have been some speculations on new streaming content for Apple, which I am also going to touch base on. I also believe that Apple will make a move towards streaming. As we know, there are three major players in the streaming content world or industry, and that is Hulu, Netflix, and Disney, and they currently they're currently trending very well. Not only that, their subscription-based service has grown tremendously over the past 2 years. They have made strides with their business and that service, and that business model has been proven very effective to capture revenue, and they are only growing by the quarter. So I believe Apple has that portion of their business that they could use to unlock the untapped potential that they may experience if they release this new line of iPhones and then they do the whole entire refresh over where they're refreshing not only the iPhones but they're refreshing the Apple Watch and the Apple AirPod Pros. And we know that to be true because Apple, we know their business model is moving away from the iPhone. We know that they know that they can't just constantly sell us a new iPhone every year, and they have to create business and a steady flow of income elsewhere. And they're doing that by heading into a more subscription based model. And to prove that to you, I will be showing you that Apple has been proven very effective to generate a lot of revenue over the coming years, but they are becoming even more and more effective at gaining that revenue from their customers and their ecosystem. So I'm going to be doing a little breakdown of Apple's revenue. So in the screen in front of me, you could see the revenue by breakdown by business segment. So you could see exactly where they're gaining a portion of the revenue and what percentage is accounting to what or correlating with what. So if we go look at this chart, right, I purposely put this chart, this revenue breakdown, to see the first quarter of this year. So we are looking at, I want you to pay attention here because this is very important with what I'm about to say next. This is the very first quarter of this year. So I want you to take a look at the business segments of this revenue breakdown. So we could see that the iPhone is obviously the more dominant revenue producer in this case. The iPhone has topped out almost at 59% of Apple's generated revenue for that quarter. But there is one thing I want you to pay attention of, and look at the trend here. So if we go over to the subscription based portion of their business model or business segment revenue, the revenue generated by that business segment that Apple owns, we could see that services in Q1 of 2021 that has accounted for 14% of Apple's revenue at that point in time. So now we are going to see the trend here. So instead of looking at Q1, I'm going to look at quarter 2 of this year. So yet again, iPhones come out as the most dominant revenue producer for Apple in current day. But now look at the piece of pie that is being shown by the service subscription or the service model that Apple has established today. That is a 4% growth over the last quarter. We are looking at 18.9%. That's a huge amount of growth. That means their subscription services like Apple TV, maybe Apple Care, and Apple Music has been experiencing growth, and that's quite a large bit of growth to have for a subscription-based service. And this is what I mean, where Apple knows that they can't effectively sell you a new iPhone every year, so they're looking to test out new methods that are proven very effective, like the subscription-based model, like TV streaming services that we know today to be very popular. We know them as today as Netflix, Hulu, HBO, Amazon Prime TV. Those are all very popular streaming services that generate revenue, and Apple realizes that, so they're tapping into that portion of their business, and I believe it's just going to be great over the coming years, and it's the reason why I believe I'm experiencing such good growth in their company. I know they're a good company, but this is very, very smart from Apple. So yet again, pay attention here. So I'm going to go to the most recent quarter, Q3 of this year. And again, we see a large bump in service revenue from 18.1 or 18.9% from the last quarter, Q2, to now 21.5% of Q3 of this year. Their service business is booming. People don't realize that, but now we could see that it's almost as if the iPhone portion of their revenue that's generated from the iPhone is getting smaller and smaller, because Apple knows that they could sell you into subscription based services, and now it won't it's only a matter of time until that portion of their business becomes even more than 25% of the revenue generated from their products. And that is going to be true because I believe that when they refresh the line of products, like I mentioned before, that they will have a very large focus on Apple TV coming this year or the next year, because they want to move into a subscription based service, because it's apparent that that part of their business is popular. See, and if that holds true, Apple will constantly generate revenue and generate growth. So that's great for you if you're an option holder, a L.E.A.P holder like me. If whether you're just regular stockholder, or you hold this in a Roth IRA, Apple is just overall a great growth company. And this is what I mean with the untapped potential. You have to realize these things, and you just have to foresee them. So this is the type of research I tell you guys about doing when you go and purchase a stock or a L.E.A.P option or any sort of asset that generates revenue. You want to do your research, and you want to know what you're putting your money into. But that's pretty much it for today's video, and I just wanted you guys to know that it takes a little bit of research here to see that, but I think over the coming years, Apple is going to be a very strong grower, and I think one that you should look out for, because it's going to be something that is proven to be effective during the most craziest time of the year, because we know the last 2 years of this it was just crazy, really. But people are fear mongering, talking about there's a market crash and there's all this different things are going to happen. But when you look at Apple and you look at them as a company, they have just proven year over year that they have what it takes to be at the top of the food chain, and then I think they're going to continue to do that for the years to come. And I am very excited to see what type of growth my option could achieve if it goes to a certain mark. And I'm going to show you in this next clip if Apple actually reaches the $250 price target by the end of this year. Well, not this year, maybe the end of next year, or before my option expires. I'm going to show you how much I stand to make if that happens. So the website you see in front of me is called the Option Profit Calculator, and in here I just basically put in what I bought my option price at, which call I picked, and the time frame that I have on it, and it does all the calculations for me, so it knows exactly what price Apple hits. It will tell me exactly how much I stand to gain from that. And to show you, I'll show you that I actually inputted all the correct information. So I typed in the symbol, I typed in the price I paid per contract, and 3 contracts here, so I'm not BSing you. I paid $5,580, and I have a contract that expires June of 2023. And just to confirm that, we're going to go right back into my Robinhood. As you can see here, the history, I bought it for exactly $5,580, so the numbers line up. I'm not BSing you about what I will stand to make at this point. So I want to show you something here. So you see all the numbers in front of you, and you probably see crazy percentages, and you're like, whoa, what the hell? That's a lot of green. Yeah, so like I said, options are a leverage asset, and I personally had a price target of $250 for Apple before the end of the expiration date. So let's go and see what Apple will stand to make me if it reaches around that mark. So if we go and hover around $256 and we just follow this along, keep in mind options do have a baseline for what price you need to be at for you to not lose or gain any money, and that portion of the option is called the break-even price. So as you can see it will actually tell you your break-even price. So if Apple just stays flat, this is the price that I would have to be at in order to not gain money or not lose money, and that number is $153. Apple today is trading above that, is trading $3 above that. It's at $156, and I still have 2 months of time on this option. So where that's heading. It's going in the up direction. It is on an uptrend. So looking back at a chart, if I go over to where $250 is roughly between 240, 248, and 256, I will stand to make 30 grand from $5,580. That is incredible. That is a 700. That is a 500% on my investment. Basically, I 5x my money if that were to happen. And with the way Apple is trending today, honestly, it might be higher than that. I was conservative in my numbers to think that, that's probably a fair thing to think that, 30 grand is very feasible. This chart tells me otherwise. So this chart is throwing me some higher numbers. So if Apple does make it to the $300 mark by 2023, before this option ends, I will stand to make around 45 grand from that option. But that's aiming a little too high. Yet again, I like to keep the numbers conservative, so my price target is always going to be 250 from what I've researched. So I'm going to stick with that number. So 30 grand from $5,000. This is what I mean, guys. It pays to learn, and you will earn. You just have to stay consistent in the market, and you have to grow. Each and every year, you should be learning a new strategy, so that way you could effectively use your money in the market, so that way you could gain money, because 30 grand means a lot over the course of 2 years. I am a minimum wage worker. I make no more than $15 an hour. 30 grand is a lot of money. And I'm happy that I effectively invested my money in order to get me to that point. But the point is that you won't get there unless you learn the market, unless you grow, unless you really hone your skills down and start investing. Because if you're not investing, you're not making money, and you won't make a life of freedom if you have to constantly go out and work for your money. Your money should be working for you. That is the end of this video. That's the moral of this story, guys. If you guys enjoy this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. Especially comment if you hold calls on Apple as well, Leap options, and what price you got in. I would like to know. It'd be pretty cool to communicate with other Leap option owners. And by the way, guys, the support on the channel has been immense, and I want to treat you guys. So if you guys look in the description of this video and all the other videos, you guys will notice that I've created some merch. So if you guys want to support me directly, please go check out my merch, and if you want to go buy a t-shirt, go ahead and buy a t-shirt. This is a student investor I'm checking out. Remember, guys, make smart plays in the market, learn every day, continue to grow as an investor, be a long-term investor, not a short-term investor, and make your money.